So to start with our clay project today, you're each going to get a piece of clay, a wet sponge, a knife, and some other tools. This is just actually a small little pencil, but it's too small to use anymore. We're going to use that as a tool. And we have some texture tools right here. We're going to take the clay and we're going to split it in half. Half of it's going to be for the body, and half of it's going to be for the other pieces. Everyone's going to start with a coil. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll it in a ball first in your hand. It doesn't have to be perfect. The more you roll it, the more it will dry out and start to crack. So as soon as you get a nice ball, that's perfect. You're going to take it, put it onto your mat, and roll back and forth until it kind of looks like a hot dog. If it starts to get flat, just take it, move it, and keep on rolling. It's getting flat again. I'm going to give it a little squeeze so it gets longer and longer. Remember, we're going for the shape of a hot dog. And I want my tail to be a little bit thinner, so I'm going to pinch back here. I'm going to pinch and make that end smaller. And this is going to be my coil body. So it's got this long tail. It's got this body right here. I'm going to make mine stand up on two legs. And I'm just going to cut kind of a mouth. Just like that. You see the shape of him? I'm going to start using my other pieces to make arms. You may make legs if you want, because he's imaginary. Maybe he'll even have 6 legs, and wings. When you work with clay, pieces can't be too thin. If they're too thin, they'll crack and they'll fall off of your creation when it's dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it and make sure it is thick enough. And the thickness I'm looking for is the thickness of an Oreo cookie. So that's a little too thick still. I'm going to make it thinner and bigger. And I know I'm going to attach my wings and my legs, but I can't just stick it on. Right now the clay is really wet and it's sticky. So if I stick it on, it will look like it's going to stay, but as soon as these pieces dry, it will fall right off. So we need to scratch and attach. What we're going to do is we're going to combine the clay so that when it dries, it's holding itself and it won't fall apart. And the way we do that is we take a tool, like a pencil or a knife, and we're going to make it look like a little tic-tac-toe board. So I'm going to make the little tic-tac-toe board, scratch them up on the body, and I'm going to do that as well on the arm. I'm going to wet with the sponge those pieces, and then I'm going to squish them together. You might see just a little bit of clay kind of ooze out of where they're squished together. You're going to take your finger and blend it together. Wow, my guy has really big arms. He kind of looks like a Komodo dragon. And do the other side. Remember, each piece, scratch and wet to attach. Scratch and wet to attach. So he's got a body. Now he's got 2 arms. I'm going to squish his arms down so I can kind of make claws moving forward. I'm going to attach his wings as well. His wings look a little big to me. I think I'm going to have smaller wings. I'm going to use some of this other clay to make the eyes. I'm going to give him some big cartoon eyes. Remember, scratch, wet, attach. Scratch, wet, attach. Oh, I kind of like it as spikes better. Maybe he'll have spikes instead of wings. When you're all done attaching all your pieces, you can start to add the details. So these little texture tools are great to add textures. Kind of looks like scales on him. You can use the pencil to either draw or to poke little holes for things like eyes. And you can use the tools if you want. Let's give him kind of ridges. When you're complete, everything needs to be attached on. I've got one little piece of clay left. Maybe I'm going to give him like an egg to guard. The rule is that everything has to be attached though. So if this is going to become the egg, I can't leave it right next to him. I've got to scratch it. Let's scratch with the knife so I can show you how to scratch with the knife. Wet it and attach it. So now he's guarding that egg.